Hey guys, how you doing? This is Manga, etc. And I'm here today to bring you the review for Build King Manga Chapter 15. So some bear's getting in the way. So yeah, Manga Chapter 15. And now, first things and foremost, what I want to talk about is that we get an explanation to the crystallization of vigor. And now, upon reading it, because I've been trying to find a system in another series that this kind of is similar to, and before I was using Haki. I don't think that's the right thing to use. I think it's been a long time since it's been a long time since Hunter x Hunter, and I really remember how this system works. But I think that Vigor is working similarity to Nen, whereas you have, I think it's 8 different colors of vigor, and they all work in different ways. They all have their different properties, and like I said, it's kind of complicated at first, but that's basically the gist of it. 8 different colors, they all have their different properties. They all work in different ways. They're all for different things basically, and another thing that we are told is that opposite colors like cancel out each other, that kind of thing as well. But the one thing the one thing that really did catch me and put me off the girl just as in this whole entirety is the fact where we get told that just 1 millimeter of crystallized vigor takes off 1 second of your life. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm not wasting a second of my life. There's no way I am wasting a second of my life in anything. So it made me think like, wow, that's kind of a downside to the system. But as I thought about it even further, we don't know, because this is not happening in our world. We don't know what the normal lifespan of someone who lives in the Build King world. Without using vigor, a person's lifespan could possibly span out for thousands of years. So therefore, if you look at it at that sense, and it does span for thousands of years, and them using vigor takes away some of that time, then it could possibly bring it down to like hundreds of years, making it like a normal lifespan for us, where we in our normal world we have people who live to just over 100 years. I'm not sure what the oldest living person has been, but it is possible to live to 100 years within our normal life. So maybe that's the like the balance there. Like they have longer lifespans, so they can afford to be using vigor. Maybe. So as we move on, as I rightly predicted, the Shinobu builder does bypass these spiders. He doesn't take out both spiders, he takes out one of them, and with this he has passed the second exam. But there is still a spider out there that could potentially be in the way of the others who have still yet to make any sort of progress. And as I said previously as well, they all don't have to start at the same point he did. They could start at different points, and therefore they could come out with their own sort of problems on the way. I personally think at this moment, if we do get to it, because I do think that the second exam could still be interrupted, I think it would only be Ton to go the same route as the Shinobi builder, and the others would take their own route and find their own different problems. So back at base where everybody else is, last week I said that this guy who's starting to cause a bit of a ruckus must be the villain, and he wasn't part of the people who passed the first exam. I think I'm mistaken on that front. My bad. Apologies. Apologies on that. He probably was there and passed the first exam. But however, I don't think he's a villain. I think he's an interruptant, no doubt about that, but I don't think he's a villain. I'm not sure why he's here, but I'm more inclined to think that he is here something to do with Ton and possibly Vanguard, therefore leading into the 2x4 stuff. It might not just be the people that we saw 1 or 2 chapters ago coming for him. There might be others that are interested in coming for him as well. And the reason why I think that is because in this chapter, when you have Ton, he's like, "Is something wrong, Smith?" This guy looks back on him, you gotta look out for the subtle hints, sorry. So I think, it is possible that whoever this guy is working with, was it Saturn Hills and annexes, I think they might be there for Ton. We do get a little bit of a hint of an insight of what the 10 edifices are for. I think they're kind of like a policing system, because we see this guy within this chapter and he's like, from here on out, this is our job. The 10 were ordered to use our vigor to keep the peace, including combat. Sound like a police force. Sound like a police force to me. I don't know about you, but sound like a police force to me. So I think that's what they're for. I think they're the peacekeepers of Build King World. 10 individuals, out there to defeat villains and such and such. So again, I wonder what the lifespan of these guys are. Because like I was saying, they're invested in keeping the peace, and they're even willing to use the vigor for it. Short lifespan is not going to cut it in that kind of line of work. And especially with this guy that we see within this chapter, he don't look human. So I'm thinking that the lifespan is long for this one at least. Moving on, back to the guy who punched Smith 5 or 6 times. And it was mentioned by Smith, it's like, "Oh, you have 5 or 6 colors, you're a cheater." What I think is meant by this, I had 2 ideas, but I've forgotten one now. But what I think is meant by this, my main idea, was that how, in the sense of calling him a cheater, he just means that you're too skilled to be taking this exam. You don't need to take this exam. You should be already licensed in that sense. Like, you've waited too long to take this exam. You basically should be licensed. Why are you here, kind of thing. So that's where the whole shifty thing comes into it. That's what I think we meant to call him a cheater. I had another idea, and it's just completely escaped me now. But when he responds to his comment about how you must have 5 or 6 colors yourself because you was able to feel nothing from my blows, and then Smith says, "Not quite. For cheaters, I have to cheat myself." I think that's just possible BS, in all honesty. Or because it is mentioned by that guy that he has a limited amount of vigor, so maybe he uses vigor in another way. He used vigor in another way to negate the attacks. I'm kind of in the thinking that maybe he borrows vigor in some sort of way, because he has a whole limited resource thing. The last thing I want to talk about within this review is the potential colors that either Renga and Ton have right now, or will be efficient at some point within the series. And now for right now, let me just get the chart back up so I can have something to refer to. So for right now, I don't know. Mustn't all of them? I don't know. But for right now, because what I've been basically thinking is that their weapons, Ton and Renga, that they've been using, the answer potentially lies there, and also like other things we've seen from them. So for right now, looking at Ton first. Let's look at Ton first. We know Ton is a strength guy, boom, and we also know that he's kind of a healer as well, because this is what the stuff that he does with his vigor hammer. So for right now, when he starts crystallizing his vigor, I reckon it will be within the red and pink areas. The red and pink areas, because the red is for strength and bone density, and the pink is for the regeneration. Yeah, so that's what I think Ton's strength is going to rely. When it comes To Rengar, on the other hand, I'm more in the kinds of, I don't want to take up time by reading all through this, but um any color that's good for holding structures together, that's where I think Ren's strength will lie, because up until now he's been able to build good houses. So that's why I think his strength will lie. And anything, I'm trying to think, like, what did he do with the vigorous saw? He basically chopped wood quickly and maybe with some precision as well. So if there's a color there that kind of links that in together, let me know in the comment section, because that's where I think with the colors that he would go for and be prominent at. But other than that, I don't have nothing more to say about this chapter. Still think that this round is going to be interrupted in some shape or form. I don't think we'll get to round 3, but for now, Shinobi Builder is there. We'll see how things go from here. I'm going to give this chapter a 3-star rating and call it review. Like always, guys, I'm asking for your thoughts and opinions. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Most importantly, take care. Have a nice day.